Imagine turning your existing Windows 10 installation into a long-term powerhouse that can stay secure and usable for many years beyond what most people expect. As the tech world moves forward with new operating systems and constant upgrades, many users feel pressure to abandon systems that still work perfectly well for their needs. But what if you could extend the life of Windows 10 all the way to 2032, while also creating your own custom installation image that already includes the software, tweaks, and optimizations you want? That's exactly what we're exploring today. How to build your own custom Windows 10 IoT LTSC ISO with pre-installed software so you can install a clean, fast, minimal version of Windows whenever you want. To understand why this matters, we first need to talk about the different versions of Windows that Microsoft releases. Most people are familiar with the consumer editions like Home and Pro. These are the versions installed on most laptops and desktops sold in stores. They receive feature updates regularly, sometimes twice a year, and those updates can bring new features but also new bugs, changes to the interface, and sometimes unwanted apps. Over time, these versions of Windows also reach end-of-support dates that force users to upgrade to a newer operating system, whether they want to or not. But there is another branch of Windows designed for long-term stability rather than constant change. This is the LTSC branch, which stands for Long-Term Servicing Channel. Windows 10 LTSC editions are designed for environments like hospitals, factories, ATMs, and industrial machines where reliability and stability are more important than new features. These versions do not receive frequent feature updates, and they avoid many consumer-focused apps like the Microsoft Store, Cortana, and bundled games. Instead, they receive security updates for many years while keeping the core system stable. One particularly interesting version is Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC. This edition is intended for embedded systems and specialized devices, but technically it is extremely similar to the standard enterprise version of Windows. The key difference is the support lifecycle. Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021 is scheduled to receive security updates until January 2032. That means if you install it today, you could potentially keep running Windows 10 securely for many more years, even after mainstream Windows 10 editions lose support. This makes the IoT LTSC edition very attractive for enthusiasts who prefer Windows 10 over newer systems. Some users dislike the hardware requirements, interface changes, or telemetry features of newer versions of Windows. Others simply want a lightweight system that stays consistent without constant updates disrupting their workflow. With Windows 10 IoT LTSC, you get a stable base that changes very little over time. However, there's another challenge. Every time you reinstall Windows, you typically have to repeat the same setup process. You install drivers, download applications, configure settings, remove unwanted components, adjust privacy options, and optimize the system for your needs. This process can take hours, and if you maintain multiple computers, it becomes even more tedious. That's where creating a custom Windows ISO comes in. A custom ISO allows you to build your own installation image of Windows that already includes the modifications and software you want. When you install Windows from that ISO, everything is ready immediately. Your preferred browser, utilities, drivers, tweaks, and even system configurations can already be present. Instead of spending hours setting up the system, you can complete an installation and start working within minutes. The process of creating such a custom ISO may sound complicated at first, but once you understand the steps, it becomes surprisingly manageable. The idea is to start with an official Windows image, modify it in a controlled environment, install the software you want included, capture the modified system image, and then package it back into a bootable ISO file. The first step is obtaining the Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC installation files. These are usually distributed through Microsoft Evaluation Downloads or Enterprise channels. Once you have the ISO file, you extract its contents to a working folder on your computer. This folder will contain the installation files, including the main system image file called install.wim, which holds the operating system data. Next, you create a virtual machine or test environment where you install Windows 10 IoT LTSC normally. Using a virtual machine is highly recommended because it allows you to experiment safely without affecting your main system. Programs like virtualization platforms make it easy to create a temporary Windows environment where you can configure everything exactly how you want it. Once Windows is installed inside the virtual machine, the customization phase begins. This is where you transform the system into your ideal Windows installation. You can install essential applications such as browsers, archive tools, text editors, media players, development tools, or any other software you always install on a fresh system. Many users include tools like package managers, system monitoring utilities, and productivity applications, so they are immediately available after installation. During this stage, you can also configure Windows settings the way you prefer. For example, you might disable certain telemetry options, adjust privacy settings, customize the taskbar layout, configure power options, enable useful features, or remove components you do not want. Because LTSC editions already avoid many consumer apps, the system is typically cleaner and lighter from the start. Another important step is installing device drivers if you want them integrated into your custom image. This can help ensure that when Windows installs on new hardware, key drivers are already available. However, many users prefer leaving drivers separate so the system remains hardware agnostic. After installing applications and configuring settings, the system effectively becomes your master Windows installation. The next step is preparing it for capture. Microsoft provides a tool called Sysprep that generalizes the Windows installation by removing system-specific identifiers. This ensures that when the image is deployed on different machines, Windows will generate new unique identifiers during the first boot. Running Sysprep places the system into a state where it can be captured as a reusable installation image. Once the system shuts down after Sysprep, you boot the virtual machine using a Windows PA environment, which is a lightweight version of Windows used for deployment tasks. From this environment, you capture the system partition into a new WIM image file. This captured image now contains your customized Windows installation, including the software and configurations you added earlier. Essentially, it becomes your personal Windows template. The next step is replacing the original install.wim file in the Windows installation files with your newly captured image. By doing this, you are telling the Windows installer to deploy your customized system instead of the default one. After replacing the image file, you rebuild the installation media into a bootable ISO. Tools for building ISO images allow you to package the modified installation folder back into an ISO file that can be written to a USB drive or stored for future installations. Once the custom ISO is created, the real magic happens. Whenever you boot a computer from this ISO and install Windows, the system installs exactly as you configured it earlier. Your selected applications are already installed, your settings are already applied, and your optimizations are already in place. This approach can dramatically reduce setup time. Instead of performing dozens of manual steps after every installation, you complete everything once while building the master image. From then on, each installation becomes fast and consistent. Another advantage is reliability. Because the system configuration is standardized, you know exactly what environment you are deploying every time. This consistency is particularly useful if you manage multiple computers or frequently reinstall Windows for testing purposes. For content creators, developers, and power users, having a personalized Windows image can also streamline workflows. If your work depends on certain tools, scripts, or development environments, including them directly in the installation image ensures they are always ready immediately after setup. Security is another factor worth considering. Because Windows 10 IoT LTSC receives security updates until 2032, a customized installation built on this base can remain secure for many years if properly maintained. You will still receive monthly security updates through Windows Update, but you will avoid disruptive feature upgrades that change the system's behavior. However, there are some considerations to keep in mind. LTSC editions intentionally exclude certain consumer features. For example, the Microsoft Store is not included by default, and some modern apps may require additional components to function. For many users, this is actually an advantage because it reduces background processes and unnecessary software, but it is something to be aware of depending on your needs. Another consideration is licensing. Enterprise editions of Windows are typically distributed through business licensing channels, so users should ensure they comply with applicable licensing terms before deploying these systems. Despite these considerations, the concept of creating a custom Windows installation image remains extremely powerful. It combines the long-term stability of Windows 10 IoT LTSC with the convenience of a personalized setup environment. Imagine installing Windows on a new computer and finding that your browser, favorite utilities, productivity tools, and system tweaks are already configured exactly how you like them. No downloads, no repetitive setup tasks, and no wasted time. Within minutes, the system is ready for work. For technology enthusiasts who enjoy optimizing their systems, building a custom ISO can also be an educational experience. It teaches you how Windows deployment works under the hood and provides insight into how operating systems are packaged and distributed. Over time, you can continue improving your custom image as well. If you discover a new tool you always use or a tweak that improves performance, you can update your master installation, capture a new image, and rebuild your ISO. Your custom Windows installation can evolve alongside your workflow. This approach essentially turns Windows installation into a repeatable process, similar to how system administrators deploy operating systems in large organizations. Instead of configuring each computer manually, they prepare a master image and deploy it across multiple systems. For individual users, the same principle applies on a smaller scale. By investing some time once to build your custom Windows 10 IoT LTSC ISO, you can save countless hours in the future. As Windows continues evolving and hardware requirements increase, many users are looking for ways to keep their existing systems useful for longer. Running a stable, efficient operating system that continues receiving security updates until 2032 provides a practical solution. By combining the long support lifecycle of Windows 10 IoT LTSC with the flexibility of a customized installation image, you gain control over your computing environment in a way that most standard installations cannot offer. In the end, the goal is simple: a fast, clean, reliable Windows installation tailored specifically to your needs, ready to deploy anytime. Instead of adapting to the operating system adapts to you. And once you experience the convenience of installing a fully customized Windows system in minutes rather than hours, it becomes difficult to imagine going back to the traditional way of setting up a new computer.